Hello and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress, Histories of Jealousy and Metal with Nightdagger. Let's go ahead and continue our world here. Log back into Woundomen. Haven't done anything off camera this time. Coming back in exactly where I left off. So let's go ahead and get Dwarf Therapist running here. We will reconnect to Dwarf Fortress and we'll read the dwarves. We're connected to an unknown version. So let's go ahead and exit that. We'll rerun it. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, so this episode, I think the first thing that I want to do is I am going to... What happens if I dig up here? I just go into sandy area. So let's go ahead and start digging down. Click back into there and turn my caps lock off. There we go. So, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to designate a downward staircase. So D, J. And we're going to make the staircase 3 by 3. We're going to do it right there. Actually, you know what? No, I want this to be an up-down staircase. Just like, well, I gotta remove the designation first, I guess. And I can't even do that because there's no... Oh, because I've already dug this out. Okay. Well, we'll just do it right here then. There we go. Up-down staircase. Now, something very, very nice that was added in the most recent version of Dwarf Fortress, let me go ahead and undesignate this, is that you can now designate over multiple Z levels, which is something you couldn't do before. Before, if I wanted to dig this staircase, I would have to go ahead and designate on this level, and then I would have to come down here and then designate on this level, and then do it on this level, and you can see how much pain in the ass this could get to be. So let's go ahead and remove those designations because you don't have to do it that way anymore. Now you can designate here and then just page down the Z levels. We'll go down 20 and we'll end it there. Now on this level I actually want it to be an up staircase. One thing that I did get in the habit of doing in this game very early is you stagger your stairways down. Because if I were to just dig straight down from here, eventually I would hit an underground cavern or something, or I could possibly hit an underground cavern rather. And if there's anything really mean and nasty in there, they have a direct shot up into my fort. So what you want to do is you want to have a natural way to blockade yourself. Not with upward staircases. As a matter of fact, not with anything on this level. On this level, we're going to just have a straight mine shaft. We're just going to do it a straight 10. And then here is where we will have our next staircases down. And then when I get to that point, I'll have this going down another 20 and then staggering back over to here, and that goes down another 20 and staggers back. But that will keep my miners busy for quite some time. Let's go ahead and get back up here to the main fortress. And let's come up to here. This is the entrance to our fortress right here. So we're going to space out of this, and now we are going to hit capital H for the hotkeys. Now you can see right now hotkey number 1 is set to a zoom. Right now it is actually set to zoom in on the place where our wagon used to be. We don't want it to zoom there anymore, we want it to zoom to our front gate, which is right here, so we're just going to hit Z to tell it to zoom here. Now, no matter where I am on the map, if I hit F1, bam, right back here. My dwarves are going to come over here and they are going to start tunneling, and we've struck bituminous coal. They are going to just dig straight down through all of the rock layers until we finally get to the bottom of the staircase. This is going to get me a little bit of starting stone to work with, and it's good. The next thing we want to do is get our farms going. So we are going to build, and let's see here, where is it? A farm plot. I'm going to actually put in several farm plots. I'm going to have one here. Now, with these buildings, you have to change the size. You don't select here and then move it down here and then select here to designate it. You actually have to increase the size using UMKH. So we want this farm plot to be about 3 tall and about 5 wide. We're going to put it right there. We're going to do another one here. And let's see. I'm going to make this one 3 tall and 5 wide. Another one. 3 tall and 5 wide. And another one. And, well, there's not much point in putting another one there, is there? We're also going to get our basic workshops for food production in. So we are going to need to build workshops, which is under W. We are going to want, at the very least, a farmer's workshop, which we'll put down here. Actually, no, we'll put this right here. And we're going to build it out of granite. We are going to want a still, which brews your booze. We're going to put that right here. We're going to want a kitchen, which is where you cook your food. We'll put it right there. And I think that's all we really need for the moment, but we are going to want a butcher shop, so I guess we'll put him right there. And then I always keep my tanner's shop right next to my butcher shop to make it easy to get the hides. So we'll put that right there. That gets us all of the workshops that we need in one place. And up here we are going to build not a bowyer, we're going to build a mason shop. We're going to put that right there. You can see I'm running very low on granite now. So it's a good thing we've started digging down and getting some stone. And I just about pulled my headset off my head there. Hopefully that click isn't too bad. And my dwarves are running back down. The other dwarves are all in the middle of their hauling labors. You can see I still have a few items here that haven't been picked up yet. One thing I'm going to want to do before I get too much further in is I'm going to want to set a build order on here. I need beds. 7 of them to start. And as soon as my dwarves get done digging this staircase, which is this all? Nope, that's phylites. That's nice, with some microcline in it. And this is dolomite, which, if I remember correctly, dolomite is flux stone. So it looks like I've got a layer of dolomite, which is really, really nice. That's gypsum, so I've got all the gypsum I need to make plaster casts. That's jet, and then this is all bituminous coal. So we actually got a pretty rich starting area here, it looks like. If any of these layers have large amounts of iron, we are swimming in gold and dwarven cash here. Alright, so let's go ahead and let time progress here. Waiting for the farmer to come down and start building these farm plots. Now, notice I didn't have to irrigate. The only time you really have to irrigate is if you're building a farm plot on a rock. It has to be muddy rock. If you're building out on any type of soil at all, and sand does count as a soil, you don't have to irrigate it. And my dwarves are going to start pulling up all of the wonderful rocks that have been carved out until that stone stockpile gets full. Normally, I don't keep stone stockpiles. The only reason I have one right now is that I am going to have to build some stuff out of stone in the relatively near future, and I don't want to go through the trouble of having to wait for them to haul it too far. So I'm going to let them do the early hauling. It'll help increase their strength anyway. But I really wish my farmer would get to work on that plot. Let's make him get to work on the plot, shall we? Let's see, where is our grower? Here he is. It is this guy right here. We're going to turn off stone hauling on him. And go back into Dwarf Fortress. So now, as soon as he is done with his stone hauling task, he'll come over here and start building the farm plots, because he's going to have nothing better to do. He may stop and get a drink along the way. I think that's him up there getting a drink now. How's work on this stairway going? Looks like they've made it to the bottom. Yep. So what are we looking at here? Hey, more granite. And up here, looks like this is, oh, marble. We got massive amounts of flux down here then. That's a nice find. We're not going to have to worry about flux on this map at all. Now, as long as we have some sort of iron-producing ore, we are set for steel forever. Now, watch me not have any iron-producing ore at all and have to rely on goblinite. Which I'll explain when we get there. Knowing my luck, it won't take too long. My mining dwarves have nothing to do now, so I'm going to dig another temporary... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to dig a temporary room for this. Let's come down here into our stone layer and start digging out a room. And I want this to be a relatively large room. About like that. Now, dwarves, when they do mining, are relatively stupid. They will come through and they will start digging through, and they'll go here, and then they'll go here, and then they'll just wind a snaking path through all over the place. It's very inefficient, it's very ugly, and there's an easier way to do it. Well, not really easier, but faster. If you designate lines for them to follow, once they start digging a line, they will keep digging that line until they're done with it. So this way they'll go through and they will dig out all of those vertical lines, and then we can tell them to dig out the remainder. As soon as they get done grabbing their drinks or whatever it is they're doing. Let's see, he's going to dig out a little bit here, and then once he starts going down this line, he's not going to stop until he gets to the end of it, or until he gets hungry or thirsty. Or sleepy, as the case may be. Sleeping down in the mines using a rock as your pillow. True dwarven fashion. Wonder if the other one's sleeping too. Yep. He fell asleep on top of a booze barrel up there. So there really isn't a whole lot to do until he wakes up. He woke up and for some reason he decided he wanted to switch lanes. While they work on that, let's come up here and see how this dwarf is doing with the farm plots. It looks like he's almost got the third one done, and now he's working on the fourth one. And he's done. So let's go ahead and set our designation on this. Now, when you're setting up farm plots, there are a couple of different things that you can do. You can set it by the season, A, B, C, D. And you'll notice that the available crops change depending on the season. Plump helmets can be grown year-round, but all of the other plants are seasonal. They can only be grown during certain seasons. What I normally do is I normally have one plot set for plump helmets year-round. So you hit A, you page down to plump helmets and hit enter to select it. And then B, plump helmet, C, and D. This one, we're going to have do quarry bushes in the spring, the summer, and the fall, and then in the winter they're going to do plump helmets too. This one is going to do sweet pods in spring, summer, and during the autumn it's going to do pigtails, and then during the winter it's going to do plump helmets. And this one is going to do plump helmets in the spring, cave wheats in the summer and fall, and then plump helmets in the winter. So during the winter time, it's cold mushrooms for everyone. Now that we have directions set for our farms, our farmer dwarf will come up here, grab seeds, come down here, and start planting them for us. And we have our first seed planted. Now he'll also keep an eye on it. When it grows, he'll harvest it. Now notice we have a lot of purple things up here. The purple things are vermin remains. Cats, while they are the harbingers of the notorious catsplosion, do serve a useful purpose for forts. They keep the critters out of your food supplies. However, they also leave corpses everywhere. They don't eat what they kill. So we need to build a refuse stockpile in order for our dwarves to get rid of that crap. For right now, I'm going to put it outside here. We will eventually want an inside one. And the reason why is that if you have a refuse pile that is outside, at the changing of the seasons, the stuff that is in that refuse pile will rot and it'll go away, and that refuse pile will clean itself up. If you have something inside, it will decay down to certain body parts, but it will never fully rot away. So anything that's going to produce bones or skulls or shells or anything like that, you don't want to store in an outside refuse stockpile, because at the changing of the season, the bones and the hooves and all the good stuff will go away. Oh, we struck native platinum. That's interesting. Let's see here. I'm going to need to get a broker going soon. Or a record keeper, rather, because I can't really tell how much I have left. I know I'm very low on meat, but I can only take a guess at my other stuff. And another thing that I have to do, well, first of all, I need these dwarves to finish. I need them to finish carving this out, because this is going to be my Great Hall. This is going to be the place where my dwarves are going to come to get their eats and their drinks and take a load off and all that wonderful stuff. So, I've taken care of food. I've kind of taken care of drink by taking care of food. I need to put a mine to defense pretty soon, but I should be safe for a little bit. And right now is not really a good time because I don't have enough dwarves to handle all the workload. You can see I do have some idlers up there, so I could probably find something to put them to work in. But I don't really have a place to put them to work until my dwarves finish with this mining hall, which they've finished the first step of it, so now we just need to tell them to come through here and finish the job. And now they're going to start from the upper left-hand corner, and they're just going to kind of work down towards the lower right. And they'll occasionally split off and do other things, and for some reason the cat decided it wanted to take a run through. While they're doing that, I'm going to come up here to my mason shop, and I'm going to send an order to my mason to start producing me some rock thrones. So A, or Q to query it, A for add new task, C for throne, because a throne is a chair. We're going to start out with 5 thrones, and then AT for tables. And we don't really care what they're made out of, so we'll just let him go. Our mason's going to come down here, grab the first available stone, and start crafting it into something useful. After he gets the first 2 done, we're also going to want to tell him to make 2 doors. Now we should have another dwarf show up at the mason's shop pretty soon to take the table, or the chair, and throw it over there. Now we're going to tell him to do 2 doors too. The weather has cleared. We'll come down here and check on this. These dwarves are doing just fine, clearing out all the stone. It's a little bit wasteful for me to be digging a big room like this with dwarves that are unskilled, because I'm actually losing a fair bit of stone by doing this. When a dwarf's mining skill goes up, it doesn't just increase the speed at which he can mine, it also increases the likelihood that he'll harvest the rock from it. Otherwise it just gets ground into powder and goes away. So you can see, even though they've dug out almost this entire room, they've only gotten about maybe 10% of the stone out of it. Later on, that approaches 100% with a level 20 miner. Alright, we should probably think about segregating plant food from regular food. So let's go ahead and put a new food stockpile, say right here. And we're going to come out of here and we're going to query it and we're going to change the settings. In here, we want to block all to start out. That's going to disable everything. And then we want to permit meat, because we want them to be able to put meat in here. We're going to permit fish and unprepared fish. We're also going to permit eggs, plants. We don't want to permit drinks, because we want those to go somewhere else. We'll permit cheese. We'll permit seeds, leaves. Basically, we'll just permit everything else. But we're not going to permit prepared food. And we don't need lye there either. Let's see. Oh, dang it. Alright, so we're just going to forbid drinks. We're going to forbid extracts. We're going to forbid... Well, I don't want to forbid extracts because milk is technically an extract, so we'll permit extracts. But we don't need lye on there. Alright, and that should do it. Now our dwarves will put all of the prepared food, or the unprepared foods, in this stockpile, especially once we come up here and we change this food stockpile to not allow those items. We're going to block all, and here we are only going to allow prepared food with you and drinks. So any unprepared food will now go into this stockpile down here. Any prepared food will go into that stockpile up there. We'll eventually move it. This is going to tell my dwarves, hey, you have a lot of hauling to do. So hopefully my idlers will pick up on the fact that they need to do some moving around. Dwarf stopped for a bite of turtle there, it looks like. Now you notice that I've got some shops here that were never completed. That's okay, because the baseline is in for them, and I don't really need them right now anyway. When I need them, I'll have the labors enabled on a dwarf, and he will come here and finish it first. So, it's not a big deal that they're not doing anything yet. Alright, and the dining hall is done. So, we are going to want one more temporary room up here. We're going to want, let's say, dig here, And I don't need it that big. So we'll just go from here. Mine it out, please. There we go. We'll go with that. And then we'll just take a chunk of 3 out of there. We want this to be able to have a closed door. Our miner dwarves will come in here and make short work of this room. They are running a lot faster now, simply because, well, their mining skills have increased. If we come into here and we reload our dwarves, you can see their mining skills are now up to 12 and 10. So they're getting better at it. Our mason has finally completed his work. We're going to tell him to, not blocks, we're going to tell him to make us some more doors. A bunch of them. And now we're going to start putting those doors to use. This is going to be our Great Hall. We're going to build the door, BD, and we're going to put it right here. And a second door, right there. Now up here, we're going to build a table, and I'm going to put it right here. And note that when you are building stuff like this, it doesn't back you out fully, so you're just hitting T for a table again. You don't have to hit BT, BT. It's just T, enter, enter, T, enter, enter. We're also going to want to put our chairs up. We're going to put those here. And we'll leave our dwarves to install the furniture. One of these days. Okay. Notice our farmer is canceling his plant order. He needs sweet pod seeds. He's already planted all of the sweet pod that we originally brought along, so he can't plant anymore. That's okay though. We'll either import seeds or we'll get some when dwarves start eating food. And you notice that we already have dwarves that are coming in here to have a seat while they eat. We're just waiting for them to finish installing the furniture here. And then we're also going to want to put doors. I don't have any doors available. You might see the 2 doors up there in the furniture stockpile and say, hey, those are doors, why can't you use those? It's because they're already designated to be put on the meeting hall. Since they are already tasked for a purpose, we can't use them again. And it is now summer. We've made it through the first season without any major catastrophes. Yay! Our first plump helmets have grown. And we are now going to start setting up the beds. We're going to put just a line of beds right here. And then we're going to put doors here. And as soon as the next one's done, we'll put that door in too. Notice again it says needs door. Well, the mason just completed a door, right? Yes, he did, but when he completed it, another dwarf was given the task to take that door and move it to the stockpile. So the door is currently tasked. You can't use it until it's done being tasked. So we've installed that. Now that door is in a stockpile, we can build with it. And we're putting beds in. This down here is done, so what we're going to do now is we are going to query this table. We're going to make this a dining room. Using the plus and minus keys, you can size the dining room. We can take it all the way down to 1 block if we want, but we don't want it to be 1 block. We want it to encompass the entire freaking room. Hit enter, and now you can assign this table, free the table, set it for a meeting hall, or resize the room. If you assign the table, it's going to set this to be one dwarf's dining room. Other dwarves will still occasionally use it, but they won't be able to get the full benefit out of it. If you free a table that is assigned, it goes back to being everyone's. We're not going to use those, but we are going to use the H key for the meeting hall. This is going to designate this as the primary meeting area for dwarves. This is where they are going to come hang out when they're on break or when they have spare time and don't know what to do, as opposed to hanging out in the rain. So we have now graduated to the point where our dwarves are no longer just sitting outside getting wet. Another thing we can do for the meeting hall to help clean it up, we can do a designate, set building item properties with B and H for hide. And now we will click here and we will come down here and we'll encompass the entire room. And that is going to hide those buildings. Now, we can also do an unhide because we want to be able to see the table and the chairs. So we're going to unhide those. And now we can't see any of those ugly stones laying around. We can also do a K and come up to here. And now we can see what's here. We have bituminous coal, a dolomite throne, and a dolomite cavern floor. Well, we don't really want to see that stone either. So if we hit H, even though it's not shown down there on the menus, you can still do it. Hit H to hide it, and now you can't see that either. It's still there. You just can't see it. Alright. It's time we start digging out some exploratory tunnels. We haven't finished installing the beds yet, which I'm not sure why, because we do have an idler. What is he doing? If you hit U, you can pull up a unit list, and it will tell you exactly what all of the dwarves are doing. One of our miners is sleeping, the other doesn't have a job. Now, the reason he is not setting up that bed is because remember that we told him not to haul furniture. So that's why he's not doing it. Everyone else is busy. Alligators. There are some alligators lurking around. We don't want to mess with them, but we're not going anywhere near the water at the moment, so we should be okay. And let's see here. What else do we want to do? I really want a migrant wave is what I want. 7 dwarves just is not enough to get all the work a fort needs done. Alright, one thing I am going to want to do before my dwarves waste any more time doing this, I'm going to remove this stockpile. So we are going to designate, remove designation. Or, no, that won't do it. We have to use P to get in the stockpile menu, and then X to remove the designation from there. We're going to undesignate the stone stockpile, because otherwise, every time a piece of stone gets used, the dwarves are going to waste time trying to refill it. We don't want them to do that. We want them to do productive stuff. And right now I'm at about 35 minutes. I'm not really going to be able to get a whole lot more done this episode, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. This has been Let's Play Dwarf Fortress with Nightdagger. This has been episode 2. I think next episode we are going to hope for a migrant wave, and then we are going to put our minds towards some basic defense. I'm going to put in some traps. Now, I'm not going to go trap happy because that's just very undwarf-like. You don't want to have just massive long rows of killing traps. At least not the kind that you build through the trap designation menu. There are some other types of traps that we might start playing around with that are a lot more dwarfy. But that's something for a later episode. I will catch you guys later.